One of the coolest name jobs ever, because I would really like that name. They should do like Principal of Innovative Learning or something too, because I really like that. But you're in a session, we're going to talk about design thinking and kind of our path and our journey going into the design thinking model and how we have changed the climate and culture of our school by not only kind of the environment, and we added a new commons area, a new school within. So we've been remodeling for like the last 3 years, and we just got done. And I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about our journey and what we've done to create an environment that's focused on student learners, both in the environment itself, in the classroom, and just as a community as a whole. And it's been an amazing journey to start with, and we're excited to share this with you.
And we're not done. Our superintendent, and who happens to be Benjamin's dad, so I'll give a shout out there, but our superintendent says over and over again that we may have beautiful walls, but what happens inside those walls is really what's important, and that's what matters. So it's about the learning. It's not about the building. Obviously, we love our building because it's pretty sweet and we're enjoying it, but what happens in the building is more important. So a year and a half ago, Chris and I brainstorming over the summer when teachers and students are gone, thinking about what do we want to do to try to spark the culture that we really want to see. And we like the ideas behind design thinking and how it's focused on your user, or in our case, our learners and our students, and thinking through how can we use that kind of lens to apply it to everything that we do, so that we build this culture of designers that are really designing, but designing with kids in mind. So with that in mind, we'll turn it over to our kids.
So we're going to have you guys do an activity this morning, and while you're thinking and doing this activity, think in your mind how you're going to make your lesson plans around your classroom, focused on your students, that they're going to learn, no matter if they're a black and white thinker or a color thinker. How are you going to change that so that all of your students can learn, not just one specific group?
Before you do your activity, where do you want to do your...
Alright. So, part of this new school is like, we like to showcase it off. And,
So to get you thinking about the space where we're trying to help kids focus on kids, we'll show you our student-centered environment at Boone High School. And Braden's and our student tech team spearheaded our little video here, so give them a shout out.
To give you kind of a background, we went one-to-one Chromebooks this year. We have a top-notch STEM program. We're one of the 3 schools that is high school business. So we've done a lot of changes in our curriculum, but this is our physical space that we changed. spaces are we created, the biggest compliment that we had from the students was, it's almost like you created this space for us. Well, duh, yeah, of course we did. And when they came in at the beginning of the summer when we started moving over, students were like, this is so different. We had a 1912 building that we tore down in this space right here, and we rebuilt a new commons, counseling. We call our library the CCI, it's the Center for Collaboration and Innovation. You'll notice that there's tons of technology up there. There's places where they can collaborate, they can talk, they can invent, be innovative. We're working on a makerspace up in that area where we want them to just generate ideas and just be very creative. And so we had that in focus when we started putting this all together. And but we knew that we needed to also work on what was within the classroom. So one of the examples that the kids are going to hand out is kind of an idea of what we did with our design thinking starting from last year. I want you to know that when I first started with Joe, our grand idea was to have our students actually give a professional development to start the year. And we talked about world-class education and what does that look like. And so our teachers generated all these thoughts and all these ideas, and then I came in with a group of students and they did a design thinking activity led by them to our staff, and the power was amazing. And when I had a student get up on a table, like Ron Clark, they hopped up on the table and they said, so how are you designing your classrooms for us? Huge power, huge motivator for our teachers, and that's what led us to continue this journey that we've been on for the last year and a half. So,
this is an example of a type of activity. We haven't done this on staff, but we might have you guys do that on staff. That we've done to try to keep the designing in the forefront and thinking about what are we doing, what are we always doing, to think about our users and fail and succeed and come back to that over and over and over again, that it's okay, but we're always trying to get better.
all right,
You're up,
Macy,
Macy.
you're up.
Okay, so everyone is going to get 15 cups and then 2 strings and a couple rubber bands. And the first round we're going to do is you have to build the highest structure without using your hands. You can only use the rubber bands and the strings. And it'll be a minute. What? Using the cups, yeah, you have to use the strings and the rubber bands on your hands to build the highest tower with your cups.
Do they take the cups out?
Yeah, they can take the
They use their hands to take the part. How much time do they have? A minute.
To build the highest tower.
Okay, so you gotta tell them when to go, or
All right, you ready?
Wait. They're gonna project the timer so that they know.
You got a timer? Okay, hang on, we got a timer.
Start planning.
Start planning. Ready to play. All right, ready? Set, go.
This is for the highest,
Oh, I tried it.
Okay, 30 seconds.
So you guys just go ahead.
I look at myself.
8 seconds.
And stop. That might, oh, that's the highest. There's actually Okay.
Okay, for the second trial, we're going to see who can do it the fastest by stacking it in a pyramid for a minute.
You can't touch the cups with your hands, correct?
Can't touch it with your hand.
Take them all down. If you get it, just like raise your hand or something so we know who got it.
So you use all, they're gonna use
Yeah, you have to use all your cups.
all your cups, the fastest.
So we're going here.
Okay, you ready? Set, go.
Two strings per rubber band. Or not 2 strings per rubber band. I mean, it's too late now. Right. Give me the cup. Give me the cup.
Done.
That's the next
30 seconds. Okay, keep going.
Well, no, you can use rubber bands, but they have, everybody said a lot of
We can't have it stacked. Why? Because you have to use every single.
So if you go like this, it'll go without. What's our next one?
This is probably a design challenge.
Sorry, you can't reach us.
Hey, have you seen how to do that?
Yeah, we can't.
Is that our time?
Oh, it is? We're done?
I'm
just getting
I'm
practice.
determined now, like now we have to. Oh, it is.
Next time you
You had
can
strings
call.
on there. Okay.
It moves.
Okay, your next trial, you have to pick one person that can't use their, like they can't do their hands or anything,
I
and
think
then
do
one
this
person that can't talk.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys can decide who does that.
But the goal is to get the highest or just in a
Basically, in the
pyramid?
highest of the pyramid. In the pyramid, right? Yep, pyramid form.
Oh, okay.
Ellen, they can go right now.
Do
Who
5,
wants
right?
to be the talker?
Yeah, you guys knocked down.
Hey, go. Hang on.
You guys are gonna do it again. It's gonna be different places.
Wait,
Hang on, the back room.
You don't need to talk?
Sure.
Okay.
It doesn't. It's not.
You
Let's
do
say
that.
you can't talk this next time at all.
Yeah. So the rest of us just sit here.
And then you only use one hand. And then you can't use any of your hands. But
But the rest of us can use our hands.
and then the rest of us do the same.
No, everyone, but one person can't talk at all, and one person you want to use one.
Only use one hand. Okay. So what's the
Yeah.
goal?
But the rest of
You're
you
not back still, but you all.
Talking is so much.
3, 2, 1, go!
Well, if I got one hand, I need a helper.
Nice work.
You might have to see.
Keep going, you guys got it.
No,
Okay, we got one more task.
One more. This one you can do whatever you want with all the materials that we gave you, and you have to build the highest tower. And there's no time.
Use your hands.
And you can use your hands, you can talk.
we're gonna take
There's no
You
time.
have to build the highest.
I don't know. So you're gonna want a smaller, but you can use your hands. So you're gonna probably not be able to get them all stacked up like that. You're gonna want us to have some sort of base. Could you try? Could we try to get it there? Could we rubber band it together?
But I don't think you're gonna get any kind of stability now. Are we going? Yes.
How many rubber bands do we have?
Any other ideas here?
Yeah, could you do rubber band like this? And then these are stuck together.
Now you're trying to.
No, I meant switch it forward. No, I just got one loosey-goosey rubber band.
Okay, now you have about a minute left.
It only works with this.
Okay. Once you get high enough, so we need it on the bottom. Here. And you can now use the base.
Take one of these out.
Because this will be right on it's gonna just fall. Cheers, squad!
All right, hands up. Stop. Statue of Liberty.
They're using materials that were not given to them.
But what was the task?
Use materials on the table. The chair was not on the table.
What Brady, what did you say?
It wasn't.
Using the material.
On the table.
Did you say using material on the table?
On the table.
The chairs are on the table.
Under the table. So then we got the big one. Okay, so I'm gonna show you just a quick video, kind of the idea. Get it over here.
We don't know how we got around the tables, but it worked out.
It worked out well. Last year we had like rows and it didn't work out so well. Okay. Okay, hang on a second. Slide that over a little bit. This is the whole concept of design thinking.
Have you noticed that the world is full of problems? There are big, hairy problems, like poverty and disease, and small annoyances like misplacing your keys. However, the geniuses at Stanford have come up with a process that will broaden your perspective and help you create better solutions, no matter the type of problem. This process is called design thinking, and it's here to change the way you tackle problems. Design thinking encourages people to explore new alternatives, creating options that have not existed before. Design thinking is successful because it focuses on the needs of the user. It's more than just good ergonomics. It's about understanding the context and culture of the stakeholders involved. This understanding is found using direct observation and qualitative data, which produces stories that people can really empathize with. Once the research is conducted, the problem solver is more apt to define what the real problem is. After diagnosing the true problem, it's time to ideate ideas without the constraints of existing solutions. Because design thinkers learn by doing, these radical ideas are then made into simple prototypes that test possible outcomes. Rapid prototyping speeds up the innovation process because we only learn about the quality of our ideas when we test them in the real world. The process of ideating, prototyping, and testing is repeated early on so that mistakes are quick, cheap, and ultimately lead to success. So, why design thinking? The process provides a method and a unifying language for multidisciplinary collaboration, leading to greater creativity and better solutions faster. Suddenly, the world's problems are simple and manageable with design thinking.
So you'll notice as we were talking, we kept giving you different tasks. And what ended up happening was you started speeding up with the things that you were doing. You were prototyping, you were talking, you were becoming really creative in the things that you were doing in terms of trying to find a way to get to the tallest. We threw curveballs out where you could only use one hand, or you couldn't talk, or you couldn't. And those are all the issues that we have within our classrooms, within our school as a whole.
As educators, you all know that when I talk about big, hairy problems, teaching and learning is kind of a big, hairy problem. There's not a simple solution to that. And design thinking doesn't have all the answers, but it's the thought process and the idea of stretching our brain to think outside the box and always try to find a solution that we're going for.
See, and ultimately, the way that we talked about it was to do what was right for them. And so,
They have to debrief though. They have to debrief.
yeah, so you guys need to debrief and talk a little bit more about some of the things. Macy, how did you guys use this activity? You guys used it in a class, right?
Yeah, we used it in our business class, and it was more of like working together as a team, and if you don't work together, your business could fail. So if your business like is down and out, you need to like find a way to make it better. So like failure is okay, and you just have to figure out how to get it up again.
Thoughts on teaching and learning. How could our teachers use this activity? Because we probably will have to do this with our staff. So if you do this with teachers, as you have here, what would you ask them to reflect on?
So in a group learning, a group think there's always a leader or there's always somebody that gets everybody involved. So around a room, I could see there's one goal, but everybody did it in a different way, in a different type of learning. And they brought, even though this one goal said you can use only things on the table, you brought in chairs or you brought in people and you got everybody involved. And you could always kind of see who helped everybody out and who got more people involved or which table just kind of sat there and they kind of did the goal and yeah.
And part of throwing in the variables is like kids, all of us probably learn different. Some like hands-on, some just like reading a book or whatever. So part of throwing in the variables was teaching that how can everyone that learns differently come to reach the same goal and like how their ideas can make a higher, bigger tower.
And also like with the rubber bands and strings, like who chose to use the rubber bands more than the strings. Like the rubber bands, I guess, are, let's say, like an easier way out because it's just that. The string, you actually kind of have to think of how are you going to get it around the cup and how are you going to put it up to stack your tower there.
See, and I like that group back there. You guys actually broke 4 pieces off and tied it onto the rubber band and pull it evenly to release it evenly, which was cool.
In this table over here, we said don't use your hands. They used like their forearms to move cups, and that was like an out of the box thinking. So, oh, we gave you materials. You don't have to use those materials. It's interesting.
Any questions for the students?
Question for you.
Sure.
Somebody said that you used it in a business class. What other types of classes have you used this in?
I've done it in a lot of STEM classes.
STEM?
Yeah, I focus more on STEM-related classes, and I've done similar activities, not this specific one, but similar ones that, and it's more or less just, because especially with STEM, and I'm more on the engineering side, it's really important to be able to think outside the box and be able to look at a different possible outcome and a different way to solve a problem than just a straightforward one.
You could probably, just to add on to that, you could probably apply it to any class, really. You could make it a metaphor for like a failing business. How can we grow our business? Teamwork, different ideas, or a math class. Like the science behind it, why it falls, how you can make it higher, just any class really.
Now, as students, why are these kind of activities things that stick out in your mind rather than other, kind of like worksheets or something like that? What makes it stand out to you?
Because you have to actually get involved, you have to problem solve, and it helps you build. And some people don't like to build, but yet having a leader will get you involved and help build your goal.
For me, I don't learn very well personally on paper and like pencil and just reading something. I always have to be doing something with my hands. I have to be able to do something, so it helps me learn better, like a lot.
And he's going to tell a story at the end here too, which is they're all going to tell their story of how it relates to how things have evolved at the high school and have really helped them find a path. And that's kind of what we've been trying to create here.
So the one thing that I've used activities like this for is, especially if I have like a student teacher come in who needs to, in a matter of seconds, have relationships with the kids. And even when I have like one of my class periods that I'm just not connecting with as well, I just simply use it as a team building activity, just to get them on your side, like to get them to understand that you're not the bad guy. It just kind of like resets the mentality of the room a little bit.
Has anybody gone to the breakout EDU session? It was awesome, and it's very similar to this. It's a lot of like you're thinking outside of the box, you're problem solving, you're working as a team to figure out a common problem. And a lot of what we're trying to get our kids to do is within their classrooms, it's not regurgitation of information anymore. They can get that information in like 2 seconds. If I ask them to find something, I'm sure they'll find it probably before me. It's about how can we problem solve, how can we create an environment that makes it real world relevant and it extends the learning. And that's what we always talk about. How do we extend the learning? And so that's what we've been trying to get teachers to understand, and you can see kind of our professional development over the last year. I put links to everything. We started with the design thinking model where you're creating a different wallet for a colleague. It's the Stanford model that they have all the worksheets and whatever, but we did this presentation last year, and we did the spaghetti and marshmallow. I know somebody did that yesterday. We've done all those processes, and we continue to build, and we continue to come back to it to talk about how we're going to infuse it. And it's not creating, like everybody talks about, the maker space. Like our view is creating a maker environment, the culture, the overall for the school, not just one little pocket area, but all over the place. And then, Braden did the video. He created the video, and you can see the pockets of kids doing things and creating things and trying to create the environment that they can go anywhere and have learning spaces.
Part of that November-ish last year was so we talked about the design process and how do we use this. So we asked our teachers in their department PLC to take some PLC time and go out and talk to kids and gather some information from their users about the learning spaces. Again, we were building a building, so it was a great time to kind of get teachers involved and say, okay, outside of, we have like a math pod and an English pod and whatever. So outside their little pods, there's these collaborative spaces for students. And so, coming to the teachers and saying, all right, outside of your pod, think about what you might want that to look like, but go ask the kids what type of space they want to study and practice and work on their math and collaborate in. Don't just design what you would want, because as teachers, we probably just put tables and desks because we would think that would work great, but we went and we talked to the kids about what would be your ideal learning space. And so they went out and interviewed, some took pictures of kids studying and to see what kids are doing. So we get that design process in, and always coming back to the students are our users, so how can we design things for our kids? And then we tried to push that towards thinking about learning activities as well, somewhere around differentiation across the district this year, but at the high school thinking about that design thinking lens to infuse into our lessons as we're designing. And when you get a new student, how are you going to make sure that your learning fits the needs of every student in that room?
And we've actually included that in our professional development for the year. We're differentiating our learning. We have modules that we created with like We've got some teachers that really wanted to focus in on flipped learning. We had some teachers that really wanted to focus in on strategic groupings. We had a group,
Higher order questions.
higher order questioning, you know, with all those, we had separate models that they kind of compound themselves over a period of time. We've got 2-hour early releases on Wednesdays and the first Wednesday of the month and then 45 minutes after that. And so each Wednesday after that. And so we've created these modules so that they're quick. You know, 45 minutes is really quick amount of time. And so they work together in groups collaboratively and continue to progress through the modules.
We should touch on the kids talk.
Let the kids talk. Okay, so we wanted to give you guys an idea of the change in culture and climate within our school, not from what we're trying to tell you, but from them. They each have had something that has kind of tripped their trigger. They've kind of found their passion and their niche in some of the improvements and some of the changes that we've done at Boone High School. And so we wanted each one of them to kind of give you an example of the change in culture and what they've seen and how that feels for them within their class experience.
And they may tell you that we're not there yet. We're still on our journey. So they have their little niche, but they probably wouldn't say that all day, every day is perfect, right?
Right. Who was first? Macy, you're on the list first.
So, my name's Macy and I'm a senior at Boone High School. Like freshman year was when we had our own school, so it was really.
Just come up to a little.
All the space.
Quit hiding.
It was really an ugly school.